It's just coming up to 11:15. Now, when it comes to life-changing experiences, Amanda Fu Ryland has had more than most. Amanda's from Halifax. She lives in New Zealand, but is coming back to West Yorkshire in the near future. Her work involves helping improve people's lives, whether emotionally or financially. You can speak to Amanda from New Zealand this morning. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, how are you doing? I must say good evening to you. Actually, it's midnight here, which is, incredible, isn't it? And here we are speaking over the waves.
Thank you so much for staying up so late for us, Amanda. Is this past your bedtime, I assume?
Well, I've got twin baby boys, so if I'm totally honest with you, Pete, I'm normally in bed by about 9:15 these days. So, but I can never guarantee a full night's sleep. So it's overrated anyway. I manage on very few hours, so it's all good.
So tell us about your link to West Yorkshire then, Amanda. You're coming back very soon, am I right?
Well, we've been coming back since April, and it keeps getting railroaded for obvious reasons. But I was born and bred in Halifax, and I worked in Bradford for many years at Rackham's Bradford for the Estee Lauder Company, a long time ago. And then discovered New Zealand. So I don't live here all the time. I tend to split my time between New Zealand and the Algarve, actually, in Portugal, and then tend to drop into Yorkshire as much as I possibly can, because it's just a beautiful country, and I've got obviously gorgeous friends and family there.
So it sounds like you're somebody who does a lot of travelling. How have you found this year having to, well, not stay in one place by the sound of it, but really limit how much you've been travelling?
Well, it's really interesting because we had friends for dinner last night, and it suddenly dawned on me that this is the longest I've spent in one country without moving, and it will be on the 20th of January, almost a year. That's a really unusual thing for me. What it's allowed us to do as a family, because as I say, we've got twin baby boys, is just really formulate some routine and some structure and really focus on the business and work on it rather than being in it. And obviously with what's happened with COVID, we've been in quite high demand because there's a lot of anxiety running for people and so much uncertainty. So I've really enjoyed the year, actually, of just being in one place, not travelling, and just really formulating lovely routines, which is brand new for me. I can't remember the last time. Well, it's probably when I was working in Rackham's Bradford, actually, because as soon as I got out of the store, I was promoted and I was travelling all the time. So it's quite a novelty, I might say.
I mentioned a moment ago that your work involves helping improve people's lives, and your work's about encouraging people to make positive changes. But what do we mean by positive change? What form does it take?
Yeah, it's a really good question. People often say to me, what's your kind of average client that comes to work with you? And in many respects, when we're working with people, what they're actually wanting to do is move away from pain, move away from things that they don't want anymore. So they'll tend to say things like, I don't want to wake up feeling depressed anymore. I don't want to be taking antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication. They're not sure what it is that they do want, but they can really tell us what it is that they don't want. So it can be anything from, anxiety is a big one, as I said, earlier. People that have never suffered from anxiety before are reaching out to us. We work mainly on Zoom, and they sort of give a little speech by saying, I'm normally fully functional, I'm successful, but with what's happening with COVID, I'm just noticing I'm getting panic attacks. I'm just anxious all the time. So in many respects, they're telling us what they want to move away from as opposed to what they want instead. It's very quick. We actually call what we do with people neural coding. It's a little bit like having an app on your phone that doesn't work anymore, and you're just like, this app's rubbish, so you just delete it. And then you look for an app in the App Store that kind of better does the job that you want. And that's effectively what we're doing with people's neurology. We're deleting what doesn't serve them anymore and then installing something that serves them far better. And it takes between about 3 to 4 sessions to be able to do that. So it's not counselling for sure. It's not something that somebody comes to for months and months on end. It's quick, it's effective, and it lasts. The way it works really well is if the person is really ready to change, and therefore, we find that we get the results in as little as 2 sessions. Yeah, so it's very effective.
You've had tough times in your personal life as well. What kept you going in those lowest moments? Because picking yourself up when you're down can be incredibly hard to do, especially when you have a series of tough moments and tough things happen in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the last sort of 5 years have been curveball after curveball, and I have to say that quite often, I reflect, and I know it's the toolbox. It's the toolbox that I've learned and helped other people with that's really made the difference, because. We have a saying in neural coding, and that's people are doing the best they can with the resources they've got right now. And therefore, if somebody's not doing very well when a curveball hits, it's because they just don't have the resources to the fingertips. So I'm very fortunate in that I've been studying these modalities really since 2005. So I reach into the toolbox often. It makes a huge difference. And there are some days, I mean, at the end of the day, you're human and you just think, I just want to wallow for a little bit because, life has been a bit tough recently. And then you've got an option. You either stay in that place or you say, well, look, life is short, get on with it. And that's what I've found has made a difference, is definitely having the tools in the toolbox and picking out the one that's right. And it's quick, effective, and you can just move on. Not sweating the small stuff really, and just getting on with it, because life is precious.
I want to mention this as well. Some of your work covers dyslexia, and it is something that a lot of people may never be diagnosed with, and it's an obstacle that many people might not realise that they're facing every day. It's a real challenge for people that they might not realise they're even having to take on.
Yeah, and in many respects, that's probably a blessing in disguise. I think when a child is diagnosed with dyslexia, it can really create a problem for that family unit, because whilst the diagnosis is helpful because it allows with literacy and obviously the reading component, what that also can do, sadly, is it can install a limiting belief in that child that they're stupid, that they are less than, that they are going to struggle at school. And what we've seen, working with the Dyslexia Foundation here in New Zealand, and this was a foundation that was established in 2012. They've seen actually the diagnosis can create quite a lot of trouble, because the child then believes that they're stupid, and therefore that filters into lots of different areas in that child's life. So where Your Life Live It's been invited to come along and support people with this diagnosis is really around their belief system. It's nothing to do with, we're not helping with the literacy side of it. It's purely to do with installing empowering beliefs in that particular person, whether that's a child or a teenager or an adult that's been given this diagnosis, and supporting the family along that journey as well. So it's been a real exciting journey for us to be able to realise that we can help quite quickly in just installing empowering beliefs and deleting limiting beliefs like I'm stupid. So it's exciting for us.
And another line of your work is She Can Prosper. It's something you're working on. It's about helping women be financially independent. It's a particularly tough time for that, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movement that I'm really passionate about, and I experienced this firsthand actually, because I lost my late husband to stomach cancer quite quickly. He was diagnosed in the May, and we lost him in the November, and Keith had always managed all our finances, and it was only really when we realised that he was going to die in a reasonably quick period of time that he gave me a crash course on how to manage everything, because we hadn't really even considered it. It wasn't that he was excluding me. It was just not a conversation. And the person, Diane Watson, that set up She Can Prosper actually really helped me personally navigate this landscape of having nothing to do with finances into becoming a person that really understands what's going on. And I think it's really important, that women have that financial independence and understanding, because with that comes freedom, really, and the freedom to make choices and decisions. And I was just, it wasn't that it was being kept from me. It was actually just, being busy and life, and Keith did it, and all of a sudden it was like, my goodness, I need to take control. So I'm very passionate about what Diane set up, She Can Prosper. I think it's invaluable for every single person to really understand how to manage the finances, eloquently, to be able to make those decisions and have that freedom.
And if anybody listening wants to find out a bit more about you and about your work and some of the projects you've mentioned, where's the best place to go?
The best place to go is on our website. It's just yourlifeliveit.com, and we will pop up there. We've got 20 coaches worldwide working all over the globe, all on Zoom, all very busy at the moment. And there's lots of information. There's lots of information about neural coding, what that means. And anyone that's struggling, that just thinks, you know what, enough, I need to take some action. I think it's reassuring to know that the action can be taken really quickly, and the results can also be experienced really quickly for longevity.
Well, thank you so much for, I'd say staying up late, but it sounds like you've got your hands full at home anyway, so you may well have been awake at this time regardless. But
who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. Take care. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Amanda Fu Ryland there.